Hello there. This week, we're doing something very special, but I can't do this alone. Tonight, I have two very special guests joining me. What's up, guys? I'm joined today by a very special guest. This is Zake and Zach. They're two lovely YouTube gamers who are good friends of mine. We're gonna be doing something very fun tonight. We're going to be reciting a couple of original spooky stories, some written previously, some written off the top of our heads, and some that are just plain stupid. So, Nikki, will you hit the lights for us? Okay, I'm getting the candle. Nice. Dramatic candle storytelling. Okay, I'm gonna tell a supernatural experience from when I was about 15. I was in high school and I was woken up about 6 in the morning to get ready for school, and I go into the bathroom. The hall light is completely off, and I go to turn the shower on, and I turn around to look back out the hallway, and there's this figure, this white figure. I don't know if it was because I was exhausted, but it looked like it was this full-grown white figure of a man walking past the doorway. And so I stepped out into the hallway, and I looked in the direction that he had gone to, and I was like, hello? No one was there. And my mom and dad were still sleeping. So I kind of freaked out. And then I found out later that the man who had been living in the house before us had actually died in a car accident, and that's why the house had gone up for sale before we bought it. So yeah, that was fun to find out. So my house might be haunted. Yay! Do you want to hold the candle of dramatic storytelling? Okay, well maybe.
I'm still afraid
Please
of fire.
don't start on fire.
Since first I remember, I have always been afraid to sleep in my room back in my home country in Azerbaijan. I didn't know why I was so afraid of it, but there was some weird aura about that room. Every time I slept there, I would wake up to weird sounds, someone whispering, or even weird visions coming from the hallway that led from my room to the kitchen or the balcony. There was always weird thoughts. Well, I couldn't sleep there until the age of like 15, basically. And I have never figured out what it was and why I was afraid of it. But maybe it's because I was like terrified of something. I watched a movie or something. I was terrified of it. When I found out later on that while I was afraid to sleep in that room was an old woman and a sick man who the old woman was reading old chants, hoping that her husband was going to survive. And after he died, all the freaky stuff just stopped apparently. And that's why I wasn't afraid to sleep in my room.
Hey. Do you have any spooky encounters you want to talk about, Zach?
Sure. So, paranormal stuff. When I was young and naive, me and quite a few friends come across Ouija board.
No.
Oh no.
No.
And we start messing around with said Ouija board. And this had become our regular hangout events at some point in time. This has been like, well, almost every time we got together, we'd go over to our friend's house and start messing around with this Ouija board, seeing like if we could contact anything. Most times we did. But some strange things started happening with it. First of all, the friend's house where we were doing all this in, he started having some strange experiences. Like, you could swear he heard his dog running around in the basement, and he'd get up, go let him back up upstairs, and realize the dog was actually outside. There would be some things where things would drift around in the corner of your eyes, and you'd look, try and find them, but can't tell what you saw or what happens, but you know you saw something. And several occasions of us just randomly feeling lightheaded and almost passing out, things like that. We had a certain encounter of someone who wanted to share their story with us. It was of a pioneer who wanted to explore, manifest destiny and all that. And this was during the time of Salem. A lot of tragedy in his family as he was answering all our questions and telling us his story. A lot of his children died in a house fire, and he was left with one daughter out of his wife and the 5 children that he had. It was just him and his daughter left after that house fire. The town he was living in had decided that was a sign from God that they were up to no good. They were being punished for whatever actions they were up to. And eventually, he sent his daughter out to the farmer's market, but as she was coming back, she was cornered by a couple unruly men, and they weren't letting her return home. What happened next, well, really chilled all of us as we got the description from the Ouija board. It was a gunshot without a gun. And then she returned home. The two men were found dead the next morning. She was then found, they then burned her at the stake for being a witch. And so now we're just speaking to this man who's been left without his family and suffered so much he decided to move west and get away from it all. And he goes through all these hardships, and traveling is not easy on him. He's getting very ill. And eventually he makes it to around our time, and he told them that he didn't want to live anymore. He told us that, decided to end his life. We asked, how? Same reply. Gunshot without a gun. And after that we said goodbye.
Oh god! Intense!
Oh my.
How about just that?
Do you wanna...
So I think this was last summer, not this summer, but last summer. My friend and I went down to this haunted bridge that's like kind of out in the middle of nowhere, like quite a few miles away from here. And it's supposed to be haunted. It's basically supposed to be haunted by this woman who was murdered by her husband, blah, blah, blah. She drowned in the river, was found dead the next morning. And we go down there one night. It's about 11 o'clock at night. I don't know, we were being stupid. We were like, let's go get scared. Yay, ha, lol. And we get down to the bridge. We had a couple of guy friends with us too that were kind of tagging along. We get on the bridge and like we drive across it, and then we park somewhere, and then we come back and we walk across it, and we're looking down into the river. And we're just kind of hanging out for a little bit, and we're just talking, and the moon's like shining on us, and it's actually kind of peaceful for a while. And then one of my guy friends starts talking about like the story of why this bridge is haunted, starts talking about the backstory of the wife that was murdered, and all of a sudden there's like this sign on the side of the bridge that's like, careful, this bridge is only like a one-lane bridge, be aware kind of sign. It was like a warning sign. And for some reason, the sign starts to shake very loudly. There was no wind. We didn't feel an earthquake, so we didn't know what it was. And so we stood there for a couple of seconds and we're like, did you guys hear that? Stand there for a couple more, about a minute, and we're just contemplating like, what could it have been? And the sign starts shaking again. And so we're all just like, okay, we're going home. Good night. And then we leave. That was fun. Yay. That was terrifying. One day, in the middle of finals week, already terrifying, I know. Sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
I was feeling a little stressed, so I went to the fridge to get out some cookie dough because I was feeling kind of down, and cookie dough always makes me feel better. I opened the fridge, and then I realized I had already baked the last bit of cookie dough last week. I was out of cookie dough. No! I will hold the candle of storytelling to your face.
Sounds good.
Just don't burn his storytelling face.
Oh god, no.
Or the story I'm reading, that one. This story is called Open the Night. Raspy thudding loud enough to waken dead men filled my house in the middle of the night. I jolted from my slumber so suddenly that I knocked over the nearly empty bottle of pain pills resting on the nightstand. Air seemed like something I had been without for some time as I gasped. My lower half groaned in disapproval with casts on both legs, reminding me that I was in no shape to answer the door in the middle of the night. The middle of the night. Neon lights from an alarm clock next to where my pills used to rest read 2:35. Who was at my door at 2:30 in the freaking morning? There was another unpleasant thud, but paired with it was a sort of scraping noise, like something heavy was dragged across the pavement outside. The knocking was more of a battering ram inviting itself in. Perhaps it was someone in trouble. However, there was a certain harshness about the knocking that seemed more threatening than pleading. Another knock. I struggled to get up out of the bed with no success. Leaning in with one side, I attempted to listen closer for a fourth knock. Instead, I heard a far more unsettling noise. Rather than a knock, there was a sound I knew all too well that came from down the stairs. The front door closed and echoed throughout my house. The very same front door I distinctly remember locking earlier, and the very same front door that only my daughter and I had keys to. Olivia? Is that you down there? Only silence replied, the sounds of heavy footsteps, probably someone twice the size of Olivia, resonated as they approached the staircase. The house was dark, but it did not matter. My bed faced the window, and so I couldn't see down the hallway, even in the light of day. Footsteps slowly crept up the staircase, each one sounding like they belonged to a larger creature than the last. I continued to try to arise out of my bed, but my legs refused to cooperate, and my head fluttered aimlessly. Dizziness warped my view, and I had to lie back down completely to force the world to stop spinning. Helpless and hopeless were a few words that came to mind. There was nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, only to wait for the beast sneaking through my house to find me. The heaviest of the footsteps were joined by similarly heavy breathing as the thing reached the top of the stairs. The seconds turned to hours as the thing inched closer to my bedroom and my literal deathbed. I could tell that it was only a room away when it stopped. The silence was even more disturbing than the eager footsteps. It was so eerily quiet that I could hear the chill crawl up my spine. After what seemed like an eternity, the silence was broken by soft weeping coming from all around the house. My ears couldn't decide on a single direction it was coming from, so it encircled me from all four corners. I twisted my head painfully towards the door to peer into the darkness. Listening closely, I tried to focus on the mysterious crying, when a conclusive thud sounded right outside the doorframe.
Oh god, jump scare!
Oh my.
Its animalistic pants matched the rhythm of my own silent gasps. My mouth opened to scream.
No.
My mouth opened to scream or speak or something, but fear had such a firm grip on my diaphragm that only silence squeaked out of my lips. A thud came from the hallway that rocked the house like a rippling shockwave. Lifting with all my effort, I fell from the bed and smacked my head on the hardwood floor. The thing smashed against the doorframe, wood splintering and floorboards creaking. As I smacked my head, it led me to fiercely biting down on my tongue. There was a distinct squish sound as my teeth connected through the soft tissue. The taste of crimson iron quickly filled my mouth. Hiding behind the veil of darkness still, the creature started to move from my doorway. When the thing passed by, it left an odor of rot and decay in its wake. The air was so thick with the smell that my eyes watered and stung. My head was ringing and thoughts came in bits and pieces. The thing shook the house with every step, and weeping started up again. I started to crawl for the doorway that seemed miles away, but the intruder rocked me off balance with each step, and I started to worry the entire foundation might give way. The weeping turned to terrifying shrieking. The chill returned to my spine as I finally realized the source of these cries of terror. Olivia had stayed the night to look after me. The intruder picked up pace as it realized the same thing and darted down the hallway, its demonic growls almost drowning out the screams of my daughter. I struggled to lift myself off the floor, but there was the weight of 50 bowling balls pressing me against it. Gravity itself had decided to aid the beast in its hunt for my daughter. I sat there, bleeding and listening. Eventually, the screams quieted.
Dang, son.
Yay.
Poetry snaps! Hey! Dramatic reading by Zach.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, did you guys want to do like the one word or one sentence?
The phone rang.
It was your mom.
You haven't been answering her text messages.
Oh, crap!
Continue? Continue?
Okay,
Okay.
Alright.
Continue.
Saturday.
That's just one word.
I was sleeping in my bed one Saturday evening.
There you go.
I heard a noise coming from downstairs in the kitchen.
I was the only one home. It was a dark and stormy night.
I decided to take a nap.
Yes.
Yes.
But
Yes.
then I realized I could not take naps anymore.
No! Terrible!
I woke up in the middle of the night to find something greeting me at the edge of my bed.
I couldn't quite see it fully, but it had big yellow eyes.
It was my cat.
Ba ba ba. He was quite fluffy.
Except for the fact he died 6 years ago.
6 whole years I haven't seen him.
For being dead for 6 years, he looked quite cute still. And very fluffy.
Except for that eye falling out of his skull.
What kind of force was behind this? I really don't know, but I really missed him.
Except for the fact that he hissed at me like a jerk.
Could have something to do with burying him in that pet cemetery.
Oh god!
Walking through the halls on a dark night, I heard voices I did not recognize.
I heard one voice coming from my bedroom, so I went inside to investigate.
No one was there.
OMG!
Dun, dun,
Continue.
Oh, continue.
When I investigated the room to find who was making the noise, I heard soft breathing coming from directly behind me.
Breathing became so heavy that I could feel it down my spine.
It was my breathing.
How does that even work?
Okay, let's be.
It's a really twisted, scary story right there.
She told me her socks were haunted.
Wouldn't surprise me because they smelled like it.
Not even ghost hunting could get that stank out.
This morning I had a craving for some cereal, so I went to the kitchen to get some.
Instead, I found an unusual specter stealing my Cheerios.
Wow, rude.
Instead of finding cereal, I found a cereal killer.
He was literally stabbing my cereal box like a jerk with a plastic knife.
Oh. I mean, that's impressive in its own right. Let's be
It's
honest.
just a random specter just stabbing cereal with a plastic knife.
If you get stabbed through a cereal box with a plastic knife,
It's possible he's gonna do it hard enough.
I felt something brush against the back of my neck.
I heard the shower curtain fly open and I turned around to see something terrifying.
It was.
Your mom.
I was gonna say my mom. My mother.
Alright, it's time to say goodbye. We need to go to bed. I need to go to bed.
What?
Want to sleep. Sleep is for the weak. That's all for now, guys. I'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Bye,
See you guys. Bye bye.
Okay. Oxygen potassium.
We're way over my head.